I want to show you something. Here's a prompt I gave Claude. Write a short LinkedIn post about why consistency matters in business. And here's what I got. Most businesses don't fail because of bad strategy. They fail because they quit too early. You post on social media for 2 weeks, see no results and stop. You launch an email sequence, get a few unsubscribes and pull the plug. You get the gist. Now here's the same prompt after I set up the system that I'm going to show you how to create in this video. The system helps AI, specifically Claude, sound more like you. Most people overcomplicate growth. They chase new strategies every month, new platforms, new tactics, new shiny objects. Then they wonder why nothing works. The businesses that are winning aren't doing more. They're doing the same things over and over and getting better each time. You can read the rest, but hopefully you get the idea that it's the same prompt, same AI, completely different results. The first one sounded like a LinkedIn post written by a robot pretending to be a business coach, and the second one sounds like a real person with something to say, at least in my opinion. Your opinion may be different, put it in the comments. If you think the first one is better, I'd honestly love to hear that. But this is why it happens. Claude is not creative by default. It predicts the most probable next word based on everything it was trained on. That means it gravitates towards the safest, most common phrasing every single time. Words like robust, leverage, tapestry, phrases like it's important to note, and in today's rapidly evolving world. These are not bad words, they just get overused so many times in training data that Claude reaches for them constantly. The result is writing that technically says the right thing, but sounds like no one in particular said it. And that's the problem, but the good news is it's fixable, and this video will show you how to fix it. By the end of this video, you're gonna have a two-part system set up inside Claude that runs every time you write. One part handles all of the anti-AI rules automatically, and we'll get into what that means. And the other part captures your specific voice, so Claude writes the way you actually sound, not the way a language model thinks professionals are supposed to sound. It takes less than an hour to set up, and after that, it just works whenever you need it. So let's get into it. For starters, you can click below to get the full step-by-step guide absolutely free. You don't even have to put in your email address, but if you want to subscribe to my newsletter and get one very helpful marketing tip every single Tuesday, completely free of charge, I do encourage you to hit that subscribe button once you go over to the page. Also subscribe here on YouTube if you want to support the channel, but you don't have to do any of that. You can get instant access to this guide, which is step-by-step, and it's going to walk through everything we're going to cover in this video. So as you can see, you're going to need a Claude account to start. You're going to need 5 to 10 writing samples that you wrote before 2022. Why is that important? Because a lot of content these days is AI generated, and you don't want that to be the bulk of the writing samples that you're going to feed into Claude. So I personally like going back and trying to find earlier writing samples before AI was so prevalent. And you're gonna need about 60 minutes, but I think you can get this done even less than that. I got this done in about 30 minutes, so your results may vary, but I would give yourself just about an hour just to be safe. Okay, step one is to collect your writing samples. You have to find writing that you did before AI tools existed. Like I said, that means before 2022. This is your real voice before any AI influence crept in. You need 5 to 10 samples, in my opinion. That's what works best. You can have more, you can have less, but that's the sweet spot. And you want to mix long and short content and casual and professional. Some places that you can look for these writing samples are Facebook, and I give you some of the specific step-by-step ways to find your data in those platforms. Of course, it's going to change from time to time. At the time of this video, this is what works. It may have been different by the time you watch this. So you can always ask Claude or ChatGPT, how do I export my data or my content or my posts from any of these channels? And you can get that information updated. But Facebook is a great place to start. You can go to Facebook, click on settings, and then just search for your info. That's the easiest way to find it in my opinion. And then go to your information and permissions. That's going to take you to Account Center, and you can export your information. It sometimes takes a while, but this is a treasure trove of information from Facebook, your account. You can do something similar with LinkedIn, Twitter or X, and all these other sources as well. Gmail can be a very good place to find pre-2022 content in your voice. And to do that, you have to go to takeout.google.com. And this one is a little more complicated, but it will walk you through the process step by step here. Another often forgotten place to find this type of content is the Wayback Machine or the Internet Archive. So for instance, my blog has been changed and modified so many times, but I have a lot of articles that are still indexed on the Internet Archive. So I can go to either my personal site, nicholaschleese.com, or I can go to earnworthy.com, and I can copy and paste old samples of my blog posts before I had any AI influence on them. Also, maybe you have some phone notes. You can scroll back through old notes and you can copy and paste those. And the same thing with old newsletters. If you ever used a platform like MailChimp, Kit, Constant Contact, ActiveCampaign, anything like that, and you wrote newsletters and they're in your voice and your style, you can go in and export them. And all you're trying to do here is get a good sample of your writing. So what makes a good sample is casual social posts where you shared an opinion, emails where you explained something or told a story, blog posts you wrote solo without an editor, and newsletter issues in your own voice. You want to avoid anything that was co-written or heavily edited by someone else, formal templates like cover letters, and anything written after 2022 if you've been using AI. Now, once you have these samples, remember you only need 5 to 10, you want to paste them all into one document. So I use a Google Doc, I just dump it all in there. It doesn't have to be super well organized, but you do want to have just sections or headers for each one. So for instance, these are your tweets, these are your Facebook posts, these are some emails, these are some blog posts, and you just want to put that in one document. Once that's done, we can move on to step 2. This is where you generate your personal voice style guide. So you want to open a new Claude conversation and you want to paste this exact prompt. And you can literally copy it by clicking that little button right there. And let's go do that. We're going to paste this into a new Claude chat. Now you see there's some placeholders here. This is where you're going to paste in your sample data. So I'm going to make some space here. I'm going to paste in my sample data. Okay, I pasted it in, and Claude likes to add it here at the top if it's a lot of data, so it's not going to go directly in the prompt, but that's okay. It's here. This is an entire Google Doc full of all of those different samples that I had just talked about. And I like to use Opus 4.6 or whatever the best model is at the time. And I also would recommend turning on extended thinking for this. And let's hit enter and see what happens. Okay, after just a few seconds, here's what we got back. This is a style guide that is based on your writing samples. You see there's a voice summary, there's sentence structure, paragraph structure, tone, vocabulary, punctuation habits, what they or you will never do, what makes them or you sound like them. And here is the final instruction block. This final instruction block, this is the most valuable part. This is what we're going to copy, and we're going to be using this later. So for now, I'm just going to paste it into a Google Doc. Okay, we're on to step 3. This is where we set up a Claude project with the anti-AI rules. Now, this is where I told you there was 2 parts to this. One is creating your specific style guide based on samples of your writing, which we just did, and we saved it into that final block, which we're going to use in just a few minutes. But the other part of this is just getting Claude to stop writing with these AI generalities and these settings that just make it sound very robotic and artificial. This is something that's just a blanket across the board that we're going to apply to a specific project in Claude, so that it's not going to necessarily solve everything because it doesn't have your style in mind, but it's going to eliminate some of the phrases and the punctuation choices and the em dash and the overuse of emojis and things like that, just as a blanket rule across an entire project. The reason I like to do this at the project level in Claude is that you can then have different rules and different instructions for different projects. Now, if you're not using projects, you definitely should be. Projects are just a great way to organize different clients or project folders or ideas or things you're working on. You can pretty much make a project about anything. I have them for all my clients, all my personal projects, health, family, you name it. I have projects set up, and it just keeps things contained, and you can have specific instructions and specific files for specific projects. So it's all isolated. So what I'm going to do here is just create a new project. I'm just going to call it sample project just for the purposes of this video. We're going to create it. And you see over here where it says instructions, this is where we're going to put our general anti-AI writing rules. Now, where do you get those instructions? Well, I have them right here in the document. You're going to copy this. And remember, we're in step 3, and these rules are going to apply to every piece of writing in that project. We'll go back to the project, click the plus under instructions, and paste it in. We're going to save it. And so that's part of the process. Now we have the anti-AI writing rules that are saved at the project level under instructions, but now we need to create what's called a writing style. To do that, you want to click the plus, you want to go to use style, create and edit styles. And you can see I have a whole bunch. You can have as many as you want. And we're going to create a custom style. You want to click down here where it says describe style instead. And then over here where it says use custom instructions advanced. Now you can play around with different settings. There's not a perfect way to do this, but this is what I've been using and it seems to work best. Now here we're going to paste 2 things. First of all, we're going to go back to the step-by-step instructions, and you'll see in step 4, we have this block right here. Think of this as like a pre-header that's going to go into that box right before we put in your specific content block that we created earlier based on your writing samples. So I'm going to copy that, go back to Claude, paste that in, give it a space, and then we're going to paste in this, which is the writing rules that we had come up with earlier in this video. So we want to copy all of that directly below. So now, as you can see, we have 2 things here. We have the final instruction block, which is the output from step 2. That's your personal voice. And then right above it, we have this general line that basically says these style instructions work alongside the project level anti-AI writing rules already in place. Remember, we added those to the instructions. And when personal voice preferences conflict with general rules, defer to these personal instructions. And then what we're going to do is just click create style. Now you can click up here and you can rename it. So why don't we just call this Nicholas Tech? And there you have it. You now created a style. Now you can use that style across all of Claude. It doesn't have to be in the specific project that you created, but if we want to combine the best of both worlds, if we go back to that new project that we created, because remember, we have the anti-AI writing rules added in the instructions, we can then click the plus, click on use style, click on Nicholas Test, which is the name we just gave the new style that we just created. And why don't we try that same prompt we started at the very beginning of the video? Write a short LinkedIn post about why consistency matters in business. Again, we're going to be using Opus 4.6 extended. And here we have the post that is now written in my style. Plus it has the anti-AI writing rules applied to it as well, since it was created inside the project that we created earlier. Let's just read a few lines here. James Clear wrote Atomic Habits over 5 years, not in a burst of inspiration. He published 2 articles a week on his blog for years before the book existed. That discipline turned into one of the best-selling books of the last decade. So why do most businesses treat consistency like it's optional? Wow. I personally like this a lot better than the initial one that I created without any style, without any instructions, but it's really up to you. You can play around with all these different settings. There's no perfect way to do this, and I'm sure I'm gonna get some feedback below about, well, I've done it this way, I've done it that, you're complicating it, there's too many steps. This is what's worked best for me. I would love to hear what works best for you. We're all learning this new process together since everything is evolving so quickly, and I hope this was helpful. If it was helpful, I would love it if you just give this video a thumbs up so more people can discover the content that I'm creating. And if you really like this type of content and want more of it every single week, hit that subscribe button, because I try to cover different AI and marketing topics for small business owners every single week right here on YouTube. That's going to do it for this video. Don't forget, you can get all the links below to the guide here so that you can continue reading through. You can test the output, make sure you can refine everything until it sounds just like you want it to sound. And there's even a quick reference checklist at the bottom of this step-by-step guide. You can get that absolutely free, no email required, right here on my website called Train Claude How to Write in Your Style, a step-by-step guide. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.